Hey everybody, question for you. Do you struggle with unbelief? We all do. And this past week, we saw something that went on with the people and Jesus. And what happened is Jesus went to his hometown area, and the people there started questioning him as how would all these miracles, all this great teaching, how does that take place with this guy that used to be a kid in our neighborhood? And what was interesting about it is that for me, when I read this part of Scripture, which is, I think, in chapter 13 of Matthew, verses 53 through 58, what I did is I saw a kind of a contradiction here. One was there's unbelief, and then there's belief. And when we are people of unbelief, we dishonor God. And Jesus even said that miracles would dissipate in that area. But when we have belief in him, even if it's the size of a mustard seed, we honor him by that belief. And Jesus says there will be miracles that will take place there. Kind of interesting to think about that. But today what I'd like us to do is remember a phrase, and I'll say it throughout the week, which is basically, I will honor Christ with my belief. I will honor Christ with my belief. That's going to be the goal. So today, say that out as you're going over to work, especially when you're struggling, or struggling with your kids, or struggling in your marriage. I will honor Christ with my belief. So I'd like to read a passage for you, and this is out of Matthew 13:54. Coming to his hometown, Jesus, he began teaching the people in their synagogue, and they were amazed. Where did this man get this wisdom and these miraculous powers, they asked. Well, this was God speaking to them, and they didn't get it. Matter of fact, unbelief does something to us. It blinds us to the obvious. I mean, it was obvious Jesus was healing people. Jesus was saying who he says he was. He was saying he was the way, the truth, and life. No one comes to the Father except through him. He was God in the flesh, Emmanuel. He was the one that fulfilled all these prophecies, and he was doing these teachings that was beyond anything anybody could imagine. And they still went, hey, who is this guy? I mean, they just couldn't get the obvious. Here's the challenge. When we have belief, the obvious about the spiritual battles, the spiritual issues going on, they are obvious to us. When we see this, belief opens up our eyes to see it's very obvious what's going on here. There is a battle between good and evil, between God and Satan. There is a spiritual battle going on beyond the physical realm here. And we see that and we know it. In Revelation 1:20 it says, for his invisible attributes, his being God, namely his eternal power, divine nature, having been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in the things that have been seen, so they are without excuse. Meaning, it's obvious God exists. It's obvious what Jesus did. And the information is right in front of all of us. And now it's up to us to see it and believe it. Many of us struggle. And you may be struggling right now with belief. Going, God, why? We're dealing with the death of a friend of ours here at our church, Eric. And there are people who have been asking why, but here's the miracle. I believe God is the God of miracles, and the miracle with Eric was this. We wanted to pray. We prayed that he would be miraculously healed or miraculously taken quickly without pain. And when I was talking to Rachel literally said to me, David, the last 2 days, he had no pain. He didn't have to take any meds. And when he laid his head on her chest and said, please sing to me, she started singing, and he passed away right there while she was singing. That is God's miracle. It is obvious. As believers, we see it as obvious, and I want you to be able to see all the different things that God is doing in your life. Let's perceive the greatness of God in our life, for our God is a great God. He's a miraculous God, and it's obvious. Let's believe it. Let's be people of belief. Guys, we'll see you tomorrow.